Hello and welcome to the Mattniverse. Today we're going to further explore HiveSwap Friendsim. We're back to Volume 10 to go meet our 20th friend. Our cool anime looking guy. Tagiri is his name. And pretty much last time we went was Zabid to his hive, which was apparently an actual beehive, which is pretty interesting. And apparently he had the telepathic abilities to control the bees. Kind of. He had to talk to them. Sometimes they wouldn't obey him or really do what he said, so luckily it worked out since we're about to get pummeled. But now we go on to Tagiri. In an utterly uninspiring turn of events, the knight finds you trolling Alternia in search of, well, trolls. The friendly type, preferably, although you've been known to work wonders with hostile folks too. Your current hunting ground appears to be a primarily teal neighborhood, which suits you fine. Teals live relatively comfortably, and are usually only mildly disdainful of you. These strikes you as a good place to search for companionship. You've got another pressing concern, though. A faint glow, far on the horizon, which suggests that the sun will be rising soon. A couple hours from now, at most. Nights on Alternia seem to last forever, but when the daylight hits, it hits hard. Like a truck, but the truck is on fire, and the fire is nuclear fusion, and the truck is a star. Point is, you're not in the mood for another sunburn. You'd better snag a buddy before it's too late. You, the strange, hornless thing. There he is. Speak of the devil, you whip around and spot a troll boy with a stylish hat and a sword sheathed behind his back. His clothes are a little shabby, but he carries himself with a rigid, composed air. What are you? Some kind of mutant troll? Or another sentient creature? Definitely the latter, you say. Unless you would prefer the former, in which case you're that, actually. But mutants, you've learned, are not particularly well liked on this planet. An alien. I won't have to call you then. Not immediately, at least. You don't appear to be a colon-site species. Lucky for you, that I wouldn't have to lose my blade. What? Okay. And lucky for me to have found a potential comrade. I know what you seek. Shelter and friendship? Not necessarily in that order. You're about to speak up, but he's already moving on. You seek the meeting place of the Eastern Alternian Fine Animated Art Appreciation Society. Or, as some less cultured souls would call it, the Anime Club. Oh, a club! Back home, teachers used to go on and on about how clubs are a wonderful place to meet new friends. You won't really believe it then. But maybe things are different here on Alternia. You confidently assert that yes, you are here for animes. Good. I feared I was going to have to cancel tonight's meeting due to no-shows, but now it can proceed as scheduled. Follow me. Apparently you're like the only other person that goes to this show. Okay then, I'm happy to go, why not? He gestured towards his hive and begins to stride confidently toward it, but then he rethinks it, pausing to look back at you. Wait. Subs or dubs? Subs, dubs, both are good. To me, subs are actually really better. I like the Japanese voices more than the dubs. Sometimes the dubs just sound so stupid. But, what would I choose for this one? I'll go for subs, since I do like subs. It's entertaining how wrong you are. But even the greatest of Alternians philosophers required sparring opponents on the battlefield of the intellect. To challenge your assumptions with my superior logic and taste will be a fulfilling task. Come in. Not really the reaction you were hoping for, but you'd say anything to get into someone's hive, so you'll take it. Wow, it's a cool room. I like all the blades. That's awesome. Got a few myself. Not that many. Got a lot of figures though, as you can kinda see already. Only a few over here, but there's way more than that. Tagiri invites you into his hive with a sweeping bow. A sweeping bow, not a bow. What am I thinking? And you step into the foyer. The hive looked normal from the outside, normal by troll standards at least, but the inner decor has an entirely different vibe to it. It reminds you of Japanese agriculture. God, what's up with me? Tagiri takes off his sandals before entering the next room. You take your shoes off too, if you had any. Apparently I never got shoes. I guess technically all I got was clothes. Not shoes, apparently. Oh well. As you step into his living room, you are assaulted, not literally, thankfully, by an absolute smorgasbord of merchandise. This place looks like someone did a Google search for Otaku Collection and opened the first results. Posters and scrolls adorn every inch of the wall available, and the inches of wall that aren't available are blocked by shelves containing all sorts of DVDs, manga, and other such forms of media. On a large glass shelving unit near the room's exit, you spy a veritable cornucopia of anime figurines, most of whom seem to be in varying states of undress. Interesting. You would like to describe it as tasteful nudity, but you would also like to describe yourself as the most popular person on Alternia, and both would be a lie. Tagiri has arranged his merch meticulously according to blood color, from red at the bottom to fuchsia at the top. I see you are admiring my Far and East Alternian collectibles. I polish them daily, just as I polish my blade. Don't touch them, or you'll taste folded steel. You slowly retract your hand. You won't dream of touching them. That was never, ever something you were planning on doing. You won't even breathe on them. In fact, you step far away from the collectibles, just in case. Oop, hello. With that step, you bump into something behind you and hear a soft roof. As you spin around to look, you see what must be Tagiri's Lucis surveying you with an intense gaze. It looks a lot like a Shiba Inu. I think that's how you say that. If there were twice the size and had opposable everything. Honestly, watching it scuttle around like a monkey while sniffing at you is pretty entrancing. And bye. Eventually, you seem to make it standards because it darts out of the room. You hear some rustling in what you assume is the kitchen. That was Tadashi Inui, my Lucis. He taught me everything I know. I could not have asked for a better sensei. Yeah, dogs are great, you respond, and then immediately wish you could take that back. Dogs are great. That's got to be the blandest possible statement you could have made. And possibly inaccurate, too. What's this thing called? A bark beast? A fetch fiend? A wolf gremlin? Oh, Tagiri isn't even paying attention to you anymore. Oh, that's nice. He's busy pursuing his shelves. Perusing. God. Yeah, learn look before I speak. Man, I'm going a little too fast. He's busy perusing his shelves, picking out some DVDs. Per my viewing schedule, we'll watch a carefully curated selection of episodes from one classic and from one recent release. But, since you're a newcomer, it might be best not to jump into the middle of Last Bout series, Philosopher's Half Iron. Perhaps we shall, instead, begin with the first section of Scoffed Heroism, and transition into some episodes of Kismet, Stuck Morning? What? The original airing, of course. Not that censored one with the ridiculous CGI dragon. Ugh. Looks like Tagiri intends to take full control of this morning's activities, which you find entirely copacetic. The less you need to assert your own opinions and make your own choices, the less likely you are to fuck up. It's probably not a healthy way to live, but it's gotten you somewhere between 1 to 19 friends so far. It has. So you're sticking to it. It's got me up to 19, on my way to 20. With deft and precise movements, Tagiri retrieves a disc from its container and pops it into the troll equivalent of a DVD player. It makes a slimy chugging noise as it sucks the disc in. Okay. And like usual, you aren't sure if it's an inanimate object or a living being. Either way, you're a little disgusted. It sounds a little disgusting. The DVD player hums and Tagiri's TV lights up as a colorful title screen. You're ready to get settled in for a journey through the wonderfully world of the animes. But he frowns and pauses the episode less than a minute in. Hang on, this isn't the correct copy. The localization on these lines was changed after the original translator was called by a purple blood for crimes against buffoonery. I specially ordered the first edition and paid extra for it. This is unacceptable. Tagiri stops the DVD player, ejects the disc, and places it back in its case. Come, there's still time in the night. We need to go resolve this immediately. The shop that imported it for me is nearby. Okay. He heads for the door and beckons you for you to follow, which you do. You guess it was too much to hope for a quiet morning inside, wasn't it? At least you get to go to shopping for animes. Why do they keep saying it like that? Just say anime, not animes. Just sounds weird. Which sounds fun enough. Will it be at one of those fancy automated stores, you wonder? No. Unlike most stores on Alternia, this specifically, the specialty shop is run by a living troll. A fellow collector who would not entrust such work to automation. So one would expect, with an actual ThinkPad involved, there would be no careless mistakes like this. At least I'm on good terms with the owner, so I doubt there will be trouble. You, on the other hand, expect plenty of it. Of course, that's how these adventures always go. Pretty much everything on this goddamn planet has been trouble so far. Does he know how awful it is here? You don't want to human-splain to him or anything, but things are pretty awful here. Things are pretty awful here. Oh, you guess he knows. He's staring at one of the many billboards that line the streets, which has been defaced with bright red graffiti. It says some pretty nasty stuff about Trizza. Who was Trizza again? Forgot who that was. Rebel sentiments grow by the moment. Alternia lies on the verge of peril, a blade's edge. And not any blade, but the blade of a razor-sharp folded steel katana. Forged under the East Alternian moonlight. Heated by the bellows breath of a magnificent draconian Lucis. Cooled by the shimmering cascade of an acid waterfall. Whoa, okay. Acid waterfall? Alright. And fit to be handled only by a true expert. Do you dance? You're a little caught off guard by that question. Dancing? As in, moving one's body to music? In a way, yes. Moving to that sweet music of steel on steel, the rhythm of combat, the stiletto step that weaves death and glory into one beautiful motion. Do you dance? Oh, sword fighting, of course. You really should have figured that one out. This guy's dial has only 2 settings. Talking about swords or talking about anime. Sometimes he gets particularly frisky and talks about both at once. You tell him that you don't know how to handle swords, but they seem really cool and you'd love to learn. Cool? Feh. Swordplay is more than cool. It is a way of life, a code of honor. To pick up the blade is to bind yourself to the tenets of Bushido, and to be prepared at all times to enforce justice the only way a swordsman knows, through steel. Someday, the pursuit of justice may bring me face to face with this rebel scum. I must be ready to show them the true, magnificent terror of the blade. Who knows? Maybe I would even be awarded a Clowngressional Medal of Honor. A troll can dare to dream. So that's why he practices swordplay, huh? To enforce justice. Kind of like a vigilante? Vigilante? Please. I would only ever call a troll who legally deserved death. What kind of lawless moron do you take me for? You don't take him for a moron at all. In fact, he's very smart and clever and just. You hope you're not laying it on too thick, but he seems to enjoy the praise. Ha, we're here. This won't take too long. He's taking you to a night market that reminds you of a place where you met Polypa. A strip mall lies to the left of many tents and stalls, and a sign above one door reads, Super Tapato Imports. Awesome. I like this. I definitely like this story. I'm a huge anime fan, so this calls to me a lot. The games do too. Love games. Arcade games are kind of old now, but they're still around. Like the Mega Man guy back there. As you enter, Tagiri makes a beeline for the counter, which is manned by a greasy-looking Goldblood with pinkish-looking eyes. You, on the other hand, are more interested in the rest of the store. It looks a lot like Tagiri's living room, but bigger. Anime figurines on sale for what looks to be a preposterous amount of money. DVDs and comics lining the shelves, arcade games in the corner. There's even a section for replica swords, which all look far too sharp and legitimately deadly for your liking. Skulking between the shelves is an olive blood guy. You can't quite tell if he works here or if he's just browsing. You're not sure if any trolls even have normal jobs. You're about to ask the olive guy about a particularly interesting DVD when you're distracted by the commotion at the counter. You're pretty sure you heard Tagiri snaring about something about his rights as a consumer. Looks like trouble is brewing. You turn your head toward the counter and listen in. Do you really think you can get away with ripping me off like this? Do you know who I am? My blood caste? A teal blood like me has many connections. A vast network of like-minded souls at my beck and call, ready to be unsheathed against my hapless foes. The legal force I bring to bear against you is greater than your puerile mind could ever imagine. A fleet of legislators will descend on you like shadow clones, each armed with the greatest weapon of them all, knowledge. And with our intrinsic understanding, close, I was close. Intrinsic understanding of the Alternian legal code, you will be mired in suits so myriad, so mind-numbing, you will wish for the swift and early death my blade can provide. Or, you can offer me an exchange of equal or greater value to my original purchase. Which path will you choose to walk, scum? You wander closer to the counter, hoping you might be able to help resolve the situation, but instead you blunder right into the olive blood and send a box tumbling from his hands to the ground. A bunch of assorted products spill out as the shopkeeper gasps dramatically. Whoops. You don't see what the big deal is. Looks like some more DVDs and manga. One cover features a troll with heart-shaped horns and a bright pink sign, and another features some red-blooded douchebag wearing pants way too tall for him. How's he a douchebag? How are you gonna call that? Okay. Tagiri picks up one of the mangas and waves it in front of the shopkeeper's face. Care to explain what I'm looking at here? Imperial Dictate, number to the second, section 3.2. The depiction of non-standard homological attributes is strictly forbidden. Imperial Dictate, number the 7th, section 5. Material which encourages action against the state is considered contraband of the highest degree. The olive blood, who can clearly see the situation careening downhill like a scuttle buggy without wheel stops, begins to creep toward the door. You'd love to do the same, but you can't give up on a potential new friendship. It's basically pathological. To think that my favorite Eastern Alternian hobby shop could stoop so low as to peddle this criminal filth. What a sickening betrayal. The shopkeeper stammers, offering a litany of muddled explanations that only seem to incense Tagiri further. He was holding it for a friend. No, wait, it's satire? Tagiri slams the palm down the counter and his eyes shoot open. The heck is going on there? Revealing dark purple irises with a strange swirl pattern. Imperial Dictate, number the 61st, section 2. Satire is especially contraband. You think you can mess with me? I've watched countless hours of legal drama, played and replayed legendary legislator and memorized every twist. I know the law back and forth. And now, it's time for the punishment due. You're fucking dead, kiddo. As Tagiri leans over the counter, his free hand grips the hilt of his katana and tenses, ready to draw. He's about to straight up execute this guy. Don't intervene, defend the shopkeeper. Oh boy. Oh boy, I don't know. But he definitely got some Naruto stuff going on. Swirling eye patterns? Man, that's only something like Sasuke and Itachi could do. Well now. Let's see. Well, knowing him, I probably shouldn't intervene. I'll go with that first. You really don't want to get in between the shopkeeper and Tagiri's sword. For all you know, this really does warrant an immediate execution. Who are you to judge? You do, however, squint a little so you don't have to see the full gory detail of the culling. Turns out, it's not nearly as gory as you expected. Tagiri leaps over the counter and swings wildly at the guy, but many of his attacks fail to connect. Okay. It's mostly a bunch of bombastic anime-style moves that don't translate well to actual combat. Still, some strikes hit home, drawing a spray of murky gold blood that jolts the shopkeeper out of his petrified fear. He screeches and unleashes a strobing psionic blast from his eyes, causing Tagiri to stagger back, disoriented. The flash of light doesn't seem to have caused any real damage, but it offers the perfect opportunity to flee. By the time your eyes have adjusted, the only thing they see is the back door swinging wildly in his wake. Unsurprisingly, the olive blood is nowhere to be seen as well. Tagiri glances down at his katana, stained with the blood of the shopkeeper, and slowly sheaths it. His hand is shaking, claws tapping the hilt restlessly. He turns slowly to you, forcing himself back into his usual stoic posture. He got lucky, that's all. But he can't hide forever. Let's go. We need to report this to a drone. He strides out on the shop, leaving you to follow hurriedly behind. What a mess. You hesitantly ask him whether it was really necessary to try and kill that boy for what he did. Of course it was. The law is absolute. A foreigner like you might not understand. It is not my duty to question the righteousness of my actions. I am but a tool through which the law is enforced. I am the blade that her imperious condescension wields to maintain order to this world of chaos. Just like this drone. He gestures to one of the big, hulking drones that you've grown all too familiar with during your stay here in Alternia. Right now, it looks like it's cleaning up some bronze-colored blood that has splattered on the side of a building. Tagiri approaches and hails it, beginning to explain that there's a collector's shop he needs to report for rebel activity, but the drone isn't listening to any of that. It slowly turns from him to stare directly at you, oh no, and it raises its weapon to your face. Great! A grating electronic noise issues from its metallic grill. In the immortal words of a wise cartoon dog, ruh-roh. Hold it! This creature is under my protection. It has committed no crime. If you continue this attempted culling, I will strike back with my katana. And a strongly worded letter to your superiors. The drone seems supremely annoyed that it can't just get right down to calling a motherfucker, but Tagiri's cast might be just high enough to give it pause. You, the motherfucker in question, are incredibly relieved. That relief quickly fades when the drone produces a palm husk with a blurry picture of you on the screen, and a lot of text beneath, most of it flashing red. That's never a good sign. It looks like a rap sheet? Tagiri reads through it quickly, which is a pretty impressive feat considering his eyes are still closed, and his expression darkens the further down it goes. Wanted under suspicion of meat product theft? Yeah, I did that. Heist of fine art? Yeah, I did that too. Accomplice to the assassination of a Violet Blood? I think I did that. Oof, you didn't realize you'd rack up such a heavy list of crimes. He's already rounded on you with furry radiating off every inch of his being. Furry, not furry. It's terrifying. You've seen this guy arguing with a retail clerk. You know what he's capable of. All this time, I thought your soul was open to the way of a samurai. I thought I had met a potential new connoisseur of the animated arts. But no. Your blood pusher pumps only lies through your villainous veins. You were just looking for an alibi, a place to bide your time, to hide away from the drones until it was time to indulge once more in your criminal ways. You tried to defend yourself. You didn't do any of those things. You had a perfectly good reason for most of them. Tagiri isn't buying it. He's clutching his katana's hilt so tight, veins are bulging on his hands. Ew, that sounds pretty gross, but okay. Silence, coward. The time has come for my blade to strike true. Ha! He draws his blade in a smooth motion and swipes at you. He just barely managed to sidestep the attack. You dart backwards, stumbling over yourself in your haste to get away, while he swings his katana wildly around while making lots of weird grunting noises. Once again, his mouth has been writing a check his sword and can't cash, but you doubt that matters when trolls are stronger and faster than you in general. And he's accompanied by a giant murder drone. It's time for you to split. You better, and you'd better do it lickety. Jeez. Glancing around, you notice that you're about to cross over a bridge with an underpass beneath it. Perfect! Just like an action hero, you can hop right over the edge on the road, duck into the underpass, and find a nice hiding spot. You dash towards the traffic barrier, vaulting nimbly over it, and oh Jesus piss! This is way higher than you thought it was. Jesus piss, huh? Never heard that one before. You hit the ground hard with a resounding crack, and for a moment your vision goes blank as a wave of pain sears your veins. As the pain disorientation begins to fade, you decide it's about time to take stock of your situation. A couple of broken bones, old hat, a troll trying to kill you, not unfamiliar, drones attacking you, same, and sun about to rise and scorch you into nothing, again. Individually, you've risen to the challenge of just barely handling each of these problems. But all at once? Yeah, you think you're just gonna call this one here. Oh god. Yeah, I am useless. Oh my god, it's like I broke my feet too. Holy crap. Yeah, I guess I should have stopped them, but man, that was something. I'm definitely liking this one. It's pretty interesting. Oh boy. From the dude having the Sharingans to the whole, the anime stuff that he has. I like this. I like all the references it's got. I don't know if I should really choose anything different here. I don't know if it matters. What if I choose dubs? Perfect. A fellow connoisseur. Let's continue. Okay, that was fast then. Tagiri invites you into his hive with a sweeping bow, and you step into the foyer. The hive looked normal outside. Normal by troll standards. Is this the same thing? These are sandals up before entering. You don't have any shoes. These mangas. All looks the same here. These are two collectibles. Folded steel. You track your hands slowly. Yeah, all this is the same. So I guess we're just going straight to the defend the shopkeeper. Alright. Okay, you know this is a terrible idea, but you're seriously had it up to here with being party to the murder of random trolls. You quickly interpose yourself between Tagiri and the Goldblood. Does he really have to kill this guy? For what seems to be his first offense. You launch into an impassioned spiel about love and friendship and justice, writing the value of forgiveness and second chances really hard. And, for good measure, you throw in a little side note about how Tagiri's favorite shop will close down if he kills this dude. Silence. Tagiri shoves you roughly aside and you go careening into a display full of body pillows. You watch, stomach plummeting, as Tagiri turns back to the shopkeeper and slowly draws his sword. But then, at the last second, he reconsiders. Ugh. Consider yourself lucky I'm in a good mood. If I catch you selling contraband again, your life will be mine. Tagiri strides out of the store holding a fresh copy of the DVD he wanted to exchange. You give the shopkeeper a vaguely apologetic look and rush out of the store behind him. Whew, that was a close one. You thank Tagiri profusely for listening to your dumb little speech about whatever it was you just said. Honestly, you already forgot. Of course. You're clearly new to this planet. I felt pity for your naivety? I have no idea about that word. But I should have just killed him. Death is legally prescribed punishment for such crimes as his. Actually, it's a legally prescribed punishment for most crimes. I should have separated him from his head. But I looked into your pleading eyes and I saw... Takiri goes quiet. You would describe the silence as being particularly brooding. There's a lot of silences that are like on this planet. Then, finally, he speaks. This isn't my first time. It was just over a sweep ago, I believe. I was patrolling the Hive batch in search of evildoers when I caught the unmistakable scent of smoke in the air. Upon pursuing the lead, I saw a hive, particularly collapsed, particularly on fire. My instincts flared, and I rushed in to help the innocent soul who was trapped there. But as I was helping the girl bandage her wounds, it occurred to me that I had made a grievous error in judgment. Trolls below a certain age without a lucis, or a proper hive, are considered unviable and slated to be cold. By rights, I should have put her out of her misery the moment I realized my mistake, and yet, I looked into her deep gray eyes, dulled from the pain of loss, and I sheathed my blade. In fact, even though she is hiveless and lucisless, I remain in contact with her to this day, knowing deep down that one day I must cull her. The law demands it. But I haven't yet. I don't know if I could. Why does my conviction waver at times like these? If he's talking about who you think he's talking about, you're pretty sure he couldn't kill her even if he tried. Who would he be talking about? The only thing I can think of is Amicia. She's tiny enough, but I don't think that it might be her. Who knows? But that's not the point here. The point is, he's spilling some real and true and deep emotion with you. This friendship is basically in the bag. Just gotta drop some sweeping, vague wisdom that makes him feel better about potentially not being an unthinking cog in the Alternian murder machine. You offer a light suggestion that maybe, what is legal and what is just? Aren't they always the same thing? Just a little thought. Maybe he's doing the right thing, overlooking her situation because of how obviously fucked up it is to be a homeless orphan. He goes silent for a long time, chewing his bottom lip. Feh, you're naive. Naive, uncultured, unenlightened. Wow, thanks! Apparently that's something to be happy about. You think the world is simple, like a cartoon for children. But this is Alternia, a land ruled by cold logic, where men such as myself must take the hard decisions. It's not easy, being dedicated to the code of law. It asks much of us and gives us little in return. But it gives us order. It keeps the beasts at bay. If I were to question it, what then? Would I begin to wonder if it is unjust for a blue blood to command his servants, for imperial drones to cull the infirm, for us to obey the ever-changing whims of the Alternian royalty? It takes a lot of effort to suppress your, well, yeah, but for the sake of this burgeoning friendship, you allow him to continue his monologue. Riots in the streets, troll killing troll. Even more than usual, I mean. No, I cannot waver. These hands must remain steady and true. Though I feel a pull toward the scorching fangs of the light, I must continue my path and remain in the tender, righteous embrace of the dark. Truth be my blade, intellect my sensei, and justice my only companion on this lonely road. He goes on like that for quite a while. It all starts to muddle together in your head, and you lose count of how many times he's repeated some screed about justice and truth and being smarter than all the other trolls in the room. It honestly sounds to you like he's just lonely. You know a whole lot about loneliness, and the poor management thereof. Some people throw themselves into their nerdy anime hobby, and others become obsessed with making friends no matter the cost of their mental or physical well-being. Maybe he just needs a couple of good pals to remind him what it's like to have a heart. But if you try to tell him that, you'll probably get a response with another long and winded monologue, likely stolen from an anime he watched recently, probably. Maybe you should just let him vent. You have my thanks for lending me your ear. Oh! A compliment brings you out of your reverie. Nothing interrupts the old introspection machine like the opportunity to chug on the succulent ambrosia that is any kind of praise or gratitude. It's no big deal, you tell him. You're a great listener. That's what friends are for. Has he considered having more friends? Like you, for example? He opens his mouth like he's about to reiterate the whole lone swordsman thing, so you hastily try to change the topic. What's with his eyes? Most trolls you've seen had gray irises, and those who didn't follow the typical biological trend of displaying their blood color. Tagiri pauses, his grip tensing on his sword as his fangs dig into his lip. Oh jeez, this must be his most closely guarded secret. Have you earned enough trust to hear it? They're contact lenses. For cosplay. Oh, of course they are. Of course. Oh, yeah, figures. Fair enough. Of course he wouldn't have the Sharingan. Nobody has that besides the Itachis. Oh, boy. That was good, though. There's some cool contacts, though. I like it. Actually, is cosplaying a different blood caste even legal on this planet? If he's doing it, it probably is, right? You're about to ask when something distracts you. The sight of another troll standing in front of Tagiri's hive, using it as shelter from the rising sun. They're pacing back and forth with precise movements, glancing at one of the windows almost like they're plotting to break in. And when they hear footsteps approaching, they perk up and whirl their head around. Hey, wait a second. You recognize them. Who is it? Oh, she must have been the homeless one. Makes sense, I suppose. Polypa spots you before Tagiri spots her. Her expression is hard and stoic, eyes glancing between the two of you as she assesses the situation. And then, like she's throwing on a disguise, her face softens and she smiles. Hey, Tags. That's an interesting name. I was starting to wonder where you were, and if anime night was cancelled. Your Lucis is staring at me through the window. I think it's funny, watching me stuck outside. Roasting to death, while you're chasing Purbeasts around the hive batch. Classic Tadachi. Why were you late? Just busier than expected, with some work. She shoots you a sharp glance. Assembling some new mecha models? You know how it is. Of course, it's all too easy to get wrapped up in one's hobby. Anyway, I didn't realize we'd have a third for once. Not to mention, somebody I know. Nani? Can't do that well. Nani? Something like that. You and my new kohai have already met? She pauses, her eyes darting back and forth between you two at once more. She seems to be assessing the situation, wearing a look like an assassin trying to evade capture. You recognize that look, considering she was literally wearing it the last time you met. We're kinda morals. Whoa, that's absolutely not what you thought you were. But you just kind of nod your head and roll with it. It seems to be what she wants you to do. Oh, morals? Tagiri's face tightens almost I can't say that right. Imperceptibly. There you go. But you caught it. Nothing gets past your own friendship-making eyes. Well, actually, a lot of things get past them, but not this particular thing. You're finely tuned to the nuances of social situations, as long as those nuances don't involve making a binary choice of which your social future hinges. Well, as you know, I am far too busy studying the blade to pursue quadrants of any sort. A foolish waste of time. Whether or not for the laws of this land, I would swear off them entirely. Are you sure it isn't that you just can't get a date? You don't have to play the mysterious loner, you know. There's other clubs you could join instead of insisting on running your own. He huffs, looking away. You hear his Lucis barking from behind the window, in a tone that sounds like laughter. Fools mock that which they cannot understand. And to think, I was going to congratulate you on finding love. Once you're finished your spiel about romance being dumb, Polypa gives him a light, friendly whap, which he responds with a smile. You can tell that the exchange is friendly not only because he's smiling, but because he's still standing. Enough banter. The harsh glare of the sun begins to crest, and we have Eastern alternate animation to indulge in. I'll allow you both to spend the day at my hive, if needed. There's space. Oh shit, a slumber party? And with more than one participant even? That's got to be worth extra friend points. You were so in. Shelter from the broiling death orb in the sky, barreling even registers to you as an added bonus. Polypus smiles at you as the three of you enter Tagiri's hive. Tagiri covers up all his windows to block out the sun, and then starts up with a new copy of his DVD, which thankfully seems to meet his standards this time. You settle in on the couch, basking in the warm glow of friendship, and prepares to lose yourself in the hours of the beautiful, wonderful animes. Whatever all that says. Oh, that worked out great. I have no idea what any of that says, but that's what you get. I mean, it is Alternian too, so I don't understand that. Let me go check out that one thing though. I wanted to see what happens if I choose both. Just to see. I'm curious. So let's go ahead and fast forward. How about both? His expression immediately sours, a look you're all too familiar with. If you had a mouse, you'd be frantically scrolling the wheel upwards back in time to make a new choice. But you live in the real world, where you have to face the consequences of your god-awful anime options. Have you no conviction? The anime club is a sanctuary for those of strong will and finely honed arguments, not a shelter for cowardly piss ants. What debate can come from a sympathetic toady such as yourself? How are you going to stimulate my intellect? You begin to sputter in protest. You're plenty stimulating. You've got a plenty long list of friends who got you stimulated in all kinds of ways. Platonic ones mostly, but he's not having any of it. There are other anime fans in this city. Perhaps their gatherings will be more of your level. Farewell. Oh, there's the other one I was looking for. Yeah, that's it. Apparently I don't know if that's the door slapping in my face or behind me. That might be his house. Could be that too. It's just weirdly positioned. But yeah, that's what I was looking for, was the other game over ending. Alright. So there we go. That was actually pretty fun though. I'm actually happy I met Polypa again. Polypa might be the one that he was talking about. Now that I think about it, I think she is kind of like someone without a hive or anything, so she runs around doing all these things, killing people and all that crap, because that's kind of how I met her. But yeah, that's interesting. I like always meeting friends that I've met before. It's always fun. I don't know their voice, because I've done that so long ago that I have no idea, but it's good to try again, you know, and just meet them and talk with them again, even if it's for just a short bit. It's fun. I like that. But I definitely liked that episode. That was awesome. I love anime, so of course I like that episode. Oh boy, but that was great. Can't wait for the next volume, but that'll be in a while. It usually doesn't take that long, so. Thank you for joining me for this adventure. I'll see you guys for the next adventure. Bye.